Friendly Crusader here. Welcome to part 3 of the Model A flathead conversion. So this episode's all about steering box. Anybody that has had anything to do with Model A and flathead V8s will know the steering box is a big issue. So I've took an engineer's view of the situation and modified the steering box so as to shorten it up to fit inside the chassis, basically, to give me more clearance of the cylinder head of the engine. So that's what this episode's all about. So sit back and enjoy, and we'll see you on the next one. Okay, so I've got a size up with the steering box, and I need to shorten her up to get it in tighter to the chassis. So this is the end of the steering box where the pitman arm comes through, and that's the flange that bolts onto the chassis, and the other side bolts on to the steering box, which also that nut is your eccentric adjustment for the pitman arm. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to machine another one of these up, get some new bushes, and machine another one of these up to create this flange, and just have this tube all the way through to the end. Then I'm going to make a loose flange that will slide, so this flange will slide over the tube, so I can position it exactly where I want it, spot weld it up, and then weld it. Because I can gain like a nearly 1.5 inches on here, so the box and everything is closer to the chassis, to give me clearance on the cylinder head of the V8. So a fair bit of work involved, but it's the only way I can create myself more room. And even then I'm going to have to move the steering box back in the chassis very slightly, but it from what I can see it'll come good, but because I've got to make a new end for my steering box basically. It ain't, it's not impossible to do it. It's all straightforward stuff. So this is what I'm doing now. I'll start machining. This section here is going to be this bit here that I'm now starting machining. So the time I've got along here at that diameter to create that, and then that'll be the first face of my flange, and then I go in on the back side and machine that off all the way down. It seems like a lot of wastage on a bit of steel, but it's the only way I can get one complete without you fabricate it, and I'll sooner not fabricate it. I'm going to have to fabricate the flange and slide it on and weld it where I want it. And that's about as much fabricating I would like to do on it. I like the rest to be solid. So that's where I'm at the minute, so we'll catch you on the next. Okay, so we've got the first part roughed on, and that's sort of my spigot there, look, so it's my flange. So we're just going to drill the middle out so we can get it bored out, which is just a steady process drilling. So you can see what the process is there, so I'll cut you loose and bring you back when there's more to show. Okay then, so it's time for the steering box, and as you can see everybody has this problem where the column collides with the head, and if the steering, I've got the end of my steering box off, but if it was on, you wouldn't be able to even get the column in. It's that tight. You just wouldn't be able to get the column in there at all. And I'll show you the little bit that I've got off my collar, off my box. And this housing is offside the Model A box. This is the flange that fits on the box. So from there to there is like the spacer piece that bolts to the inside of the chassis. So you've got all that distance. That box has got to come out towards the engine. So if I put that on there so you can see it, so that's roughly the side of the gearbox, and this one bolts on the inside of the chassis. Well, the chassis, if I make a mark, is somewhere about there. So roughly that's on the side of the steering box, so you can see how much you've got. A good inch and an eighth there, and I'm already tight on the head. So you see people put these boxes on top of the chassis, underneath the chassis, they move them back. They have all sorts of concoctions, right up to changing the steering box. A lot of people changing for the F1, well, F1s in this country are few and far between. So, and that's not Formula 1, that's F1 pickup truck. But, so I have another idea, and that is, I'm going to put it where it is now, but well, what I can do, I'll take you in and show you what I'm doing. Just bear with me while we get there. Put the light on. I've already started in the machine shop with this. So basically, if I can hold it, that's my flange, and my spigot's there, look, same as that spigot. And then this outer flange will be a separate piece that I can slide across the barrel of this to put it where I can get it to fit, take it in position and take it all to bits and weld it on. I'm also doing a modification. It's a Model A box, so I rebuilt it a few years back and that's going okay. But now I've got a modification where these bushes are replaced by needle bearings. So while I'm at this job, I thought, well, it'd be easy enough for me to bore that out for the needle bearings as it would be for the bushes, and then I can get a proper seal in the end, and hopefully be good. And I should put these in the milling machine so I can pick up these holes, and more importantly, where is it, that one, because that's got the eccentric cone in there, so by you can mesh the well, I call it the pitman arm, but you know, it meshes it into the worm to get so it's all nice and tight. So that's what I'm at. And then the other thing that I've done is I've bought a steering arm, steering drop arm, steering column arm, call it what you will. But my one's fastened in there, the one's on the bottom of the tank. And then they did a modification because they used to break loose, and then obviously the tank would leak, and because it's riveted the tank and soldered, and eventually over time like they would leak. I mean, this one's actually a good one, but I need to move my column over 1 inch, so I bought that one, which is the upgrade from that, which bolts in top of the chassis, top of the bulkhead, and so then I can mount that where I like. So I'm going to move it over 1 inch, and with my modification to the box, the plan is I can bolt the steering box back in its original position. And I know a lot of you boys who's doing this, I think you're bugging me, that's a tall order, but I'm pretty sure it'll go. And I mean, I've had to cut a little bit out the bulkhead there, but once I finalise it and got the position, I will reshape all that so by it looks like original piece, if you like. So yeah, so we'll crack on and do a bit more machining, and then I'll bring you back when there's more to show. Okay, so I've got my gearbox end pretty much made up, which is there in the mill now, and that's the original piece, and we're just putting that slot in there, and we're almost through. Pretty much just want to do it, wouldn't it? Close. One more cut and it'll be broke through. Okay, here we go. Look. Just a tad. Yeah, there we go. Last one. So that's created my slot now. Same as that slot in that one. I'll just turn it around so we can see it there. So I just need to measure now the depth from the bottom of that to the face of that, and if we're there, then that's it. Then we'll go bolted on the column and try it. Okay then, so that's got the slot cut out, and that's for that little screw there. Well, it's not actually a screw, it's riveted in. Why it's got a screw slot in it, I don't know. It might have been an adjustment once upon a time, but it certainly don't move now. But anyway, the bit that does move is this one here. And then if you watch, if I can get it to show you, it's not yeah, that might give you a better picture. You see that moving there, look. And the bit I'm turning is eccentric. There you go, look. I'll turn it back. There you go, look. And that's the bit, I called it the pitman arm, but it's actually named something else. I can't think what it is at the minute. But the actual steering rod that comes through there, and the bit that engages with the worm, that is to put that in and out of mesh, so you can adjust the steering box up. And then the screw right in the bottom, which is on the other side of the box, gives you, can I see it? There. Oh yeah. Can't see it. Oh, it's there. Look. And that's the bit that gives you your up and down of your steering column, so that it can't flop in and out. So it's all bored out from needle bearings and wheel seal. I may have to trim some bits off the top of these here to make it a more square flange like the other one. But we're now going to offer that up into the chassis and see how it fits. But the idea being doing what I'm doing with the other one with the flanges on the end, I can put my flange, you know, halfway down. Obviously leaving myself enough room to get the blooming nuts off, like. Because once you've welded it, that's it, you know, you buggered it. But anyway, so that's what I'm messing about at the moment. Okay, so this is our flange that we just machining up here, which is going to fit on the other piece I made for the steering box. And when it's, it just looks like a big lump around at the minute, but when I get it machined up, it'll become apparent, right? But basically, this is going to slide over the boss on the other one, where the flange would have been, and difficult to explain. But the reason it's this depth. It's going to slide right down. I'm going to bolt right through this and into the base plate of the other piece that I made, so everything's nice and rigid. Save welding it was the idea. Then that way it'll. Well, if I take it out and put it through, it's pretty much done in here now. So if I take this now and just slide it on the other bit, then you'll see what the hell I'm talking about. So that's the other piece on the box, and the idea is, let's do it right-handed because I can't, that just nicely fits on there. And the idea is it's going to go, I'm going to machine out where the bolt holes are. I'm going to machine slots out in this, so this will drop down onto the base plate. Then I'm going to drill right through and thread the base plate out so I can screw it tight to that. Then that way I ain't got to weld my flange, you know, onto that piece, which I sort of thought would be a better idea. But I'll do a bit more machining and then you'll see where I am. So here we are then, milling the slots out for the bolt heads on the steering box. And so when the plate goes on, you know, it'll clear the nuts and washers that's holding like the base plate into the box. Like I say, it'll all come more apparent when it's all together, you know, but I was going to weld this flange to the box, to the base plate, and then decided it would be too tight to get the nuts and bolts out, so I thought if I make it a loose flange so as it can be bolted on, it would be a better option. But anyway, I'll crack on and get the rest of these you know, cleared out, and then I'll show you what it's all about. Okay, so that's so that's pretty much the job done now. I'll just unbolt it, and dog's complaining because I'm not playing ball, but Toby. No, he's gone. He's had enough. Right. So there it is. We've just got to set to and deburr it. And looks a bit peculiar, doesn't it? But I'll clean it up, deburr it, and then you'll see what I'm up to. Okay, well now you can see what I'm up to. I've slid the flange on the base plate. But there's the base plate, look. And the idea is all the cutouts get at them all. So they're all one right round that side, look. So I'm getting the nuts and the washers on them, and the job will be a good one. I may have to face this off to move it in and out a little bit, but basically that's going to be my flange, and I'm going to drill right through this and into the base plate, and the base plate will be tapped out, and then my chassis will sit on here. So what have we got to show you? I'll just grab a bit of angle line. So if you like, my chassis will sort of sit like that, and then a piece up on this side as well. But you understand what I'm saying? So put it on this side perhaps, like that, and that pokes through the chassis, which is my flange, whereas before it would have sat like that. So I gained myself, well, anywhere between about 7/8 to an inch, and that will give me what I want to give me clearance on the engine. And then it mounts to it. I'm going to drill the holes in the mill before I assemble it, but then I'll assemble it all and yeah, and set the steering box up with its new bearings and bits and pieces, and the seal, and then I can put the bolts through, bolt it up, and hopefully try to put it in the chassis. But there is one job left to do on here. I've got two flaps on this base plate, and I've got to scribe and replicate them flaps on this round bit, otherwise it won't go inside the chassis. You know, there's a flat underneath there as well. So I'll scribe them and mill them off, drill it, and then I'll offer the two bits into the chassis to see that I'm happy, and then I'll assemble the gearbox, the steering box, and then the whole unit. So guys, and the thing why I'm doing it like this is because, one, I want the clearance on the engine, but for two, I want to keep all my switch gear, which is all on the steering column, all intact. So my lights and my hooter and so forth is all, and the throttle and stuff is all set up on the column, and I didn't want to lose that. I wanted to keep it, and so hopefully this will just give me the clearance that I need. But anyway, I'll crack on, do a bit more machining, and I'll bring you back when there's more to show. Right, okay then, so we're underneath the car. You can see the piece that I've made behind the box. Look, everything sits in there flush now, and although I've got a chisel there just holding the holding the column tight to my spacers, but it's very difficult to see. But she's definitely got good clearance on the engine. So I'm sort of happy at that now, and the steering wheel up top is not too bad. The pedal, can we see the pedal? Yeah, the pedal's just there, look, sort of quite tight on the column, which just wants tweaking, or I'm going to catch my toe on the column. But it's pretty much where I need to be. You just see it in the front side there, look. So that now means I can put my plug socket back on there for all my switch gear and my headlights and everything. Got clearance of the starter, and you can just see in there, look, you've got the chisel in there holding everything tight at the moment because it's not bolted up, but you know, that's got a nice clearance on the manifold. And obviously with all this, when I'm done, I will put a heat shield in, so as to just deflect some of the heat away from the box a bit. But yeah, mildly happy at that. I think the thing is now is just to get it out and bless her. You can see the column there and a bit where I've cut out. So yeah, so I'm going to pull it out now and you know, crack on with it and get it all bolted up and you know, get it fitted in. So good progress. I'm well chuffed with that. You know, I've retained the column that I wanted to put in it, so that's good. Right, catch you on the next one then.